Welcome back to Secondhand Overland. I'm your host, Matt Kester. Today we're talking about what I think could very well be the very best GMRS radio for your wife and kids, the Samcom FPCN30A, which is a 5-watt UHF Part 90 radio. This radio has to abide by a certain set of rules that makes it very good at a radio for someone who just wants a very simplified way to communicate. This is a very good option for that. Now, let's just talk about what Part 90 certification means briefly. Part 90 is the certification for what were called business band radios, or radios that, like you would have seen on the construction site, every job that I ever went on, the Motorola's that we had were all Part 90 radios. And what a Part 90 radio, really the difference is when you get down to the brass tacks of it, is that a Part 90 radio has to be externally programmed. It cannot be reprogrammable by the end user. And that means it can stay locked onto whatever frequencies were permissible for that particular person or entity that was using that radio. It doesn't really feel like it's skimped on build quality, and in fact it's actually incorporated a couple of features that I've never seen on other Part 90 radios. Without any further ado, we're just going to kind of dive into this radio, give you a quick overview of it, and tell you what I think, and maybe even fire it up. So stick around, let's get over here. Let's take a look at what we're working with here. What we have is, well, in the box, important reminder to old customers, dear Samcom friends, and two-way radios at a follow frequency. Oh, all right, so a manual. Looks like it was, yeah, it works. Charger, goofy earpiece. Radio, and battery. So that's what's in the box, the usual, the typical. The actual radio itself is, well, it's not too bad. The feel of it is not bad at all. It's actually like, it actually feels sort of substantial in your hand. It doesn't feel Bofang cheap. It kind of like feels like in the middle between a Bofang and an Ocean, really, as far as the build quality. It does have a nice little bit of heft to it. And unlike other Part 90 radios, this actually has a display here that will show what the transmit and receive frequencies on any given channel are. It'll also display the tones over here that the channel is on, which is pretty nice. One thing it won't do, however, though, that I noticed is that you can't program these channels to be named anything other than channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. It would be really cool if you could put, like, you know, the repeater name or whatever on it, because at this point in time, it's just like any other radio where you would turn it to channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, or channel 4. If you don't know what those channels and their purpose are, you're gonna have to either be told and memorize it, or you need to carry around a card with you. I wish that this actually would just put, you know, like Shaw linked or 575 or whatever, but you can't. Let's see some other features. So unlike other Part 90s that I've seen, this actually also has a normal menu mode, and it's screened in here, which actually will allow you to change the tones on a given frequency. You can't change the frequency from the radio, but it will allow you to change tones. And you can set what's called the group channel. Unlike, you know, some of the other ones where it's just a knob and a dial, having this menu and this interface allows you to change some things on the fly that aren't completely prohibited by Part 90, like changing your squelch, changing up the Vox settings, adding or removing the Roger beep, using the compounder function. All good things to have. And then it also has this group OK button, which is kind of interesting. I can see where this could be very beneficial, because this is kind of like your panic button. If you're off on the wrong track or whatever, you can lock this group setting on all the radios so that when you hit this button, it actually keys up on whatever set is the group frequency, which is pretty cool, because if somebody's confused or lost, you just say, hey, hit the green button, and whatever your default frequency that you're all going to be out and about on, you just set them the same so that everybody in the group knows if you just hit the group button, it'll make you talk on the group channel. Now what this doesn't have, it doesn't have dual monitoring for different channels, so you can't monitor 2 channels at the same time. You're basically locked into one. And let's see here, we've got the battery on it, kind of was a little bit smaller than what I was expecting. It's only a 1500 milliamp hour battery, and for comparison's sake, well, this is the battery out of a UV5R, just the standard battery at 1800 milliamp hours. So even a UV5R has got a little bit better battery range. And then you step it up to something like this lithium ion battery pack that I pulled off of my KG UV90 Mate, and it's a 3200 milliamp hours. So the battery that this thing comes with is kind of small. Would be kind of concerned about that over the long run, but you do get chargers that come with each one of these radios, and they're rather inexpensive. Powering it up is not much. You do get around the 575. I don't know if I can hit it from here though. I'm in the bad part of the house. Yeah, it doesn't quite have enough oomph to get it there. So I'll go ahead and program it into another channel and we'll go from there. So give me a second while I get all set up here, and then we'll go ahead and program it, try it out. We'll walk through the programming. Now, programming this is not too bad. You've got a pretty decent menu here, but it's also fairly simple. You're only gonna get a grand total of 20 channels to program with, and they're all over here on the upper left side. I've got it set up for 575 right now on the 725 at 100. I gotta double check those frequencies to make sure they're still good, but you can come over here and you've got all of the channels you can set, and you can set the frequencies, you can set the tones, and you can also set narrowband and wideband. Then you come over here, you do have general settings, so you can change the TOTs, the timeout time. You got the Vox level if you decide to use Vox. You got a squelch level control. You have a group setting. So basically this is the thing right here that will program that group button too. So if you want to set your groups, say to channel 1, well, there you go. So let's go ahead and hook the radio up here and we'll play with some programming. Now, I did forget to mention that this radio doesn't come with a programming cable, but chances are you've got a K-plug cable laying around from some other radio that you've used to program in the past, so it's really nothing to worry about. But if you don't have one, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below as well. So we just got it programmed successfully, and I set it to high-low selectable, so can I change the power on the radio? Doesn't appear like you could set high-low on the radio. Well, normally I would reach out and see if our buddy Don's available for a radio check, but I just sent him a text, and apparently he's in Mexico, so that's not gonna fly. Well, let's see if we can hit the 725 and see if anybody's close by here for a quick repeater chalk. Now this repeater is right out, you can't see it, but it's out the window over there. I get a good line of sight on this. This is my favorite backyard repeater, so this is nothing for any radio to have to reach out and hit, but it's gonna be a good indication of how it sounds. WRKX996 repeater check. Somebody will come back, you would think. WRKX996, anybody out there? Nobody's coming back on that one. Let's try a harder to reach one. WRKX996 lurking. This signal's not good. This is Crown King. This is on the other side of the house behind me, 40 miles away with a bunch of building in between us. So it's actually probably going out the window and reflecting off the building next door. That's not that great. Anyway, I'm reaching out and touching them. That repeater, like I said, is about 40 miles away. That one over there is about 10. And they're getting out. We're just not getting heard. I kind of like it. I do like it. I like the functionality. I like the simplicity of it. I don't know. I think the price point's still a little bit higher. I'm not completely sold that this radio is worth exactly as much as it is, because I do believe it retails for around $150 a pair, which would make this $70 each. But it does look like a fairly decent, fairly well-built radio. It also is a Part 90 certified radio, which means you get this functionality that you didn't have with other radios, and it's much simpler for, like I said, your wife or your kid to be able to use. Beyond that, I don't have much else to say about it. It's, like I said, it's just a very, very simple, easy to use radio that you could then program and hand anybody. Now, critiques of it, my biggest critique is that this display can't be changed. I wish that they would make it so you could change the actual name instead of, have maybe the option to display the channel frequencies and tones or just the channel name overall. I think that's a big change I would like to see, and I think it should have a bigger battery. I think you could go with a 2500 or a 3000 milliamp hour battery and really make this thing shine. But beyond that, it's a 5-watt radio. It's gonna work just like any other 5-watt radio as far as distance goes. I haven't really had the time or ability to go out and really field test it, but I think that it's gonna be just as good as a Baofeng as far as quality, reliability wise. I think you could be confident in buying this radio and knowing that, well, it's gonna be a decent radio for you. If you're interested, you'd like to find out more or pick up your own, I'll put a link in the description below. Until next time, be good.